Building a business is hard. Most people just want to make enough money to live a comfortable life. They're not chasing fame, they're not chasing riches, they're just chasing some sort of freedom. I'm Donnie Boivin, founder and CEO of Success Champions Networking, and today I'm going to talk about the dark side of business, the hard stuff you have to endure to earn the freedom that you've been working towards.
This ain't the business summit for perfection. It's for the messy builders, the loud learners, and the ones who break the rules and the mold. If you're ready to stop playing safe and start making noise, taking ground and building something real, you're in the right damn place. The 2025 Badass Business Summit. Networking without the bullshit. September 17th through the 19th in Fort Worth, Texas. Skip the small talk. These are raw, tactical sessions where real relationships are built, strategies are swapped, and momentum is made, not just another pile of business cards. Break shit and win ugly. Go to badassbusinesssummit.com. Register now and punch status quo in the face. Badass Business Summit. You weren't made to follow, you were built to disrupt.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Going to run a little bit different show today. I'm taking it solo. I'm going to have some fun with it, and I'm really going to talk about, the dark side of business, the things they don't talk about the things you have to endure in business and go through. Let me tell you, building a company is not an easy thing. And to be honest, I'm not 100% sure that if I knew the hardships I was going to have to endure, that I would actually have decided to jump in and actually build this thing out. So, for those who don't know my story, I launched Success Champions in September of 2017. I was under a massive non-compete, and I could not talk about the only thing I knew, which was sales, business development, or sales management anywhere. I could not do any sort of sales training. So I was really handicapped because my entire career had pretty much been wrapped up in doing nothing but sales, and then, of course, towards the end, doing sales training. So I launched my company under a huge handicap, and I had no revenue coming in, no money coming in. I was just trying to figure it out. And let alone, I had no idea what it meant or what it took to be a business owner. So as I began to start building my business, I thought I could do some stages and get in front of crowds. And I realized quickly, nobody knew who I was. So I wasn't getting the stages. I wasn't getting the opportunity to get out and get in front of people and try and teach the things that I'd learned over the years. So the business really struggled so bad so that 6 months into running my company, I walked out the back door of my farm to let the dogs go run and do their morning business, and realized that my wife's Jeep was gone. So I immediately called the police officers, the sheriff's department, and tried to report a stolen vehicle. And I can remember the gal on the phone. She really almost giggled at me as she told me that no, it wasn't stolen. We had a report of a repossession last night. And then it hit me. Like, not only was my business failing, things were crumbling, but I was not only behind on the Jeep payments, I was behind on our mortgage payments as well. And so much so that our Jeep had literally just been repossessed. And that felt bad. And honestly, it felt horrible. But the worst was yet to come, because now I had to go in the house as my wife is getting ready to go to work that morning and have to tell her that her Jeep's been repossessed. Now, mind you, at this point, she had no idea that we were in that dire straits financially. She didn't know we were behind on the mortgage payments. She didn't know any of it. So I had to literally in the morning, as she's getting ready for work, lay out everything that just happened and how bad we are. So I told her the Jeep was repossessed, and then I told her we were behind on 3 months. And I'll never forget the look and the phrase that came out of her mouth when she said, "The house? We're going to lose the house?" Man, that hit me like a damn gut punch. Let me tell you, I didn't feel like I was being a man. I didn't feel like I was holding up my side of the bargain when it came to respecting a marriage, respecting her, and respecting the life that I told her I would give. So she had to take my truck to work that morning because that's the only vehicle we had left to drive as we try and figured out what the hell we are going to do. Long story short, graciously, she cashed in her 401k at that point, and we got her Jeep back. We saved the farm, and then we still decided to give the company a go. While during this time, one of my former clients reached out to me and offered me a vice president of sales job with a $175,000 base salary. So here I was going from our Jeep being repossessed, our house almost foreclosed on, and now I have a company offering me a $175,000 base salary to go be a VP of sales for one of my former clients. Elizabeth and I talked about it for a while. What should I do here? What should I do? Should I go take the job? And man, I wrestled with it for quite a while. And ultimately, I decided on my conscience I couldn't do it. And I turned the opportunity down. And they were really kind of pissed that I turned that opportunity down. But my heart felt like, there was something way bigger out there for me. There's bigger opportunities and things that I could do. So I decided to give the company a go. And that first year of business was an absolute nightmare. We'd go from all the repossession and stuff, but I didn't know what the business was going to be. I couldn't talk about sales, so that was a huge struggle for me. And so, I had six, actually, probably the first couple years, I had six different companies I was running at one point. So I had some masterminds and some coaching going. I had a magazine going. I had the Badass Business Summit going. I had a sales training company going. The magazine, like there was just so many things that were running and gunning that I was trying to create because I was trying to figure out what the hell the business was going to be, and I was really struggling to put something together that would be cohesive. So I ran that way for about 2.5 years. Really, the business was all over the place. We were doing all sorts of things. And then in March or April of 20, we were supposed to do the inaugural Badass Business Summit. That was going to be the first one that we did. And of course, COVID breaks out. And we were 2 weeks away from the first one when we had to shut it down because of the COVID shutdowns and the likes. So I'd already invested a ton of money to put that first conference on that was now on hold with the convention center that I had rented out. We weren't going to get the funds back because they were trying to cover their payroll and all events were canceled. So they were holding all the money. So here I was out of pocket, thousands of dollars to try and do this summit with no way of getting that to those funds. And, I didn't know necessarily what to do. I was still doing all the other companies. We were making money and we were doing well. But that night I was just kind of bitching and moaning about life and, still trying to figure out what the company was going to be. And I remember looking at Elizabeth and I said, you know what? I just don't want to be the guy that teaches networking. And she says, why not? And I said, because they don't teach real things. They don't teach things that actually work, things that people can actually, apply to their business. Thank you, Sarthak. They don't teach the stuff that actually works in networking. And I'll never forget Elizabeth looking right at me and saying, dude, why don't you just change how the world networks? And that set me down a path to try and figure out what that would actually mean. And it was the next morning that I decided that I was going to launch virtual networking groups because I had a background and a history in it. And I knew how they work and I knew how to build them. And I knew how to create them. And I knew how to help people find success in them. So I gave it a go. I jumped in. We launched Success Champion Networking in March of 20. When we originally launched it, they were business to business and business to consumer groups because I literally was just trying to help as many people as I possibly could stay in business. That's all I wanted to do was, people didn't know how to do business online. And I was trying to create something that would allow them to continue doing their business, continue doing things and finding clients and still having conversations and the like. And so we launched and it really worked. I mean, we launched, I think, with 3 groups originally. We quickly grew to over to 20 groups, and we were on this huge trajectory of just growth, and it was fun and amazing. And we had chapters, all over the U.S. and just tons of people were coming in, and we were continuing to grow. And then 2023 hits, and in 2023 the mortgage rate in the mortgage industry blows up and then mortgage rates are running up to 8-9%. and people are losing their jobs because their companies are shutting down, and everything's starting to go south. And for us, we watched as our members didn't leave SEN, their businesses went away. And in that moment, we lost three-quarters of our network. In Colorado alone, we lost 75 members in 30 days because they were all B2C. So it was mortgage, title, handyman, painters, window guys, all amazing, amazing people, but their companies were gone because there was no business, because all the rates were so high, it should put everybody out of business. So we made the call at the end of 23, and we're like, okay, we're going to go business to business and see if we can really turn this ship around. So we made it business to business in the end of 23 and spent most of 24 cleaning out a lot of the B2C folks, and really started to bring it into the business to business side of things. See, I'd really forgotten that when I sold commercial printing, most networking sucked, because you would go into a room that was filled full of the realtors, title, the mortgage, amazing people. But when you're selling into typically multi-million dollar companies, and you're selling into bigger business, most networking you go to, you're not talking to people that are also selling into that level. They're people that are selling to consumers, and so it's a lopsided conversation. And so most networking didn't work for me. So even before I launched my company, I was running several business to business networking groups, because everywhere I'd gone, there was nobody else, talking to those type of companies. So I was running my own networking groups, bringing in those people together that were focused on, B2B. So I went from, once we made the changeover to Success Champions to go straight B2B, I was really kind of blown away at the gap we had found in the industry of people who were selling business to business. And SCN started taking off, and through most of 24, we really were in this cool rebuilding phase of getting a lot more brand awareness out there and the likes. Coincide with that, in January of 23, I decided to go all in on LinkedIn, that I was just going to try and figure out the damn platform. And so I decided I was going to post every day on LinkedIn until it worked. And I was just going to give it a go and see what happened. And so I started writing every day in January 23 on LinkedIn. And let me tell you, I don't know how I graduated high school. My grades were so bad. The teachers didn't really care for me. I got called a jerk several times in high school by different teachers. I got told that they were going to pass me on because they didn't want any chance of getting me back next year. I was told a lot of these crazy things, and I had to figure out, that I just needed to get through school. So I never learned any sort of grammar. I didn't learn any sort of punctuation, how to spell. So my early content on LinkedIn was really, really bad. I mean, people were making fun of the way I spelled things. I was getting DMs, people telling me to correct sentences. I didn't know the hell I was doing. Thank God for AI and grammar editors and the things that were able to come in and clean up a lot of the things that I did. But I tell you, if you get into a Slack conversation with me, or a text conversation with me, I'm still going to misspell things. I'm still not going to go where commas and things go. And what the hell is your 3 twos? This drives me nuts, right? So I started posting every day on LinkedIn, and at about 6 month mark, I started to find my voice and started figuring out that I was actually teaching networking from a perspective that people did not readily do and readily know. And I didn't understand, that the way I networked was so different from everybody else out there. So I was trying to figure out, how do I teach the things I do? How did I teach, going to find people who also sold to your ideal competition, but weren't, or your ideal customers and weren't competition, and bringing them together to build out this entire ecosystem of people that were all selling to the same direction. And people started leaning in. And about the 9 month mark of posting on LinkedIn, I literally had a gentleman connect with me, send me a connection request, and it was the most bizarre. It was in an industry I'd never even thought about or heard of. And they happened to be a regional sales manager of a knife sharpening company. And so I decided to accept the connection request, and connect. And when I connected, I do what I always do. which is, hey, thanks for connecting. How did you get into, whatever your industry is? And so I sent that message off, and they told me that they'd been there for a couple years, and they were the, regional sales manager for Central U.S. and for this covering this region. And he had 10 to 15 sales reps that he was bringing together to bring his region together, and was interested if I'd come in and teach networking. Now, I hadn't put myself out there as somebody who was trying to teach companies how to network, work with salespeople, and teach them how to network. They followed me, and so we started up a conversation. And come to find out, this guy had been following me for 6 months on LinkedIn, and he had never commented on my stuff, never liked or engaged, but now he was leaning in and asked me to come speak to his company. So they were close. So we worked out a small deal. It wasn't a big engagement. And I went out and started doing a workshop with his team. And I realized, as I'm working with people that sell knife sharpening, right? They literally go basically door to door, but via restaurants, and try and sell chefs this knife sharpening system where they sell them a set of knives, and then they come and every 2 weeks bring them back a new set of knives. It's a really cool program. And working with these guys, they'd never thought about, as they're going into the restaurant, that there's other people there that they could build relationships with. Like, there's a Cintas, there's a uniform guy, there's an oil guy, there's a grease guy, there's a window guy. And so I was talking through, how do you build relationships with these people so that they can lean in and get more opportunities, because they're going to be in relationships that other people aren't in. So I started working with them on a bigger scale and having some cool conversations. And now they're still a client of mine that I work with on occasion. And it was crazy that showed up. At the 11th month mark, I was invited to speak in Times Square, and be a part of an event there. And just the opportunities have continued to come. So now I've been building a personal brand, via LinkedIn, via podcasts, and getting on stages and such, building SEN and continuing to grow. And mind you, part of building all this, I'd made a hire once upon a time that helped out with some automations. Come to find out that after they no longer work for the company, that they'd cost me over $100,000 in a bad automation. Basically, people were able to sign up as a member, and then if the renewal came up, they literally wouldn't get a renewal notification. So they were just getting a free membership in, and we were having tons and tons of people that were just getting a free membership in because the automations weren't built out right. And so several things happened that made business really, really hard. Like, we're on year 6 of the Badass Business Summit, and this last year was the first year we turned a profit on the event. So we were working at a loss the first 4 years of doing the Badass Business Summit, and really, really struggling. So I'm really excited going into year 6, because we're going to have our largest crowd ever. We're going to have the coolest event ever. We're going to have the largest audio and tech team we've ever had. Just some amazing things are coming out of it. So what they don't tell you about building a business is you're going to meet the person in the mirror as you do it, because you're going to find out what you're made of. You're going to have to endure things like you've never thought you had to endure. You're going to have to challenge yourself, and pretty much understand that every day that you're going to have to wake up, get punched in the face, smile, and continuing going. Because there's so many times when you're going to want to quit, you're going to want to throw in the towel, you're going to want to say the hell with this and just go get a job, because it's not easy, nor is it for the faint of heart. So what I would tell you is, the more you can endure, and don't come at me, you freaking hustle and grind yahoos, right? This is not about the grind. This is about endurance. This is about you being able to take it on the chin and keep moving forward. Most people throw in the towel right before it's going to get good. The moments that are hard and challenge you the most are the moments you are going to figure out, can you actually pull this off? And I promise you, the people that do find success in all this are usually the ones that are too dumb to quit. So keep pushing, keep grinding. And remember, man, we're all trying to get to some sort of freedom. You don't need to have to go after riches and fame. You don't need to go after, some amazing, crazy lifestyle things I'm trying to do. You just need to make enough money to build a comfortable life for yourself so you can live life more on your own terms than anything else. So it's tough. I get it. But don't make yourself an island. Find a group of entrepreneurs that are going through it as well. So you have a group of people that you can vent to, a group of people that can help you on this journey. If you're looking for that group, you really should come and check one of our Success Champion networking groups out. This is all we do is help people open the right doors. If you sell business to business, if you sell into companies, this is a great place for you to come hang out with us and learn each week how to grow your business, how to get more introductions, how to get more referrals, and literally try and find a way to build an amazing community with an amazing people. So I'll be here each week, guys, kicking this your week off live with a whole new series and things we're coming out with. So I hope you have an amazing week and love you, mean it. See you. Bye.